What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/relationships. If you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack straight on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story does come from a throwaway account, and it is a bit of an older story, but I noticed it had an update. I don't think we covered this one, but correct me if we did, but I definitely haven't covered the update, so here we go. Wife had been flirting with her co-worker. She said she would stop it, but it just happened again. Is there any future in this relationship? My wife and I have been married for slightly more than 3 years now. Last Christmas, I found she'd been having a long conversation with a co-worker of hers, in which they talked about having had sex multiple times and they couldn't wait for the next one. The guy said he was going to book a hotel near their office right after Christmas. In this conversation, when he said he was looking forward to seeing my wife, she would reply with things like, "I'm looking forward to much more than just seeing you," etc. You get the idea, overtly flirty and sexual. When I confronted my wife, she denied the conversation existed. After deleting it, she showed me her phone to prove it didn't exist, but I had taken a few pictures. She then said it was all virtual and that she never did anything physical. To prove she was right, she messaged her co-worker in front of me, asking if he had booked the hotel. He replied, "Not yet." She then asked if he was really expecting them to meet, to which he replied negatively. She promised they would never talk again, and I agreed, simply because I love her a lot and wanted to trust her. But in my mind, I wasn't completely sure she had been honest. For a few weeks, I must admit I checked her phone a few too many times, so she changed her password, which I was fine with because I was probably being too paranoid. This week, I picked her phone up because I needed a code that had been sent to her phone number. I didn't even need to unlock the screen to get it. To my surprise, under the message with the code, there was another message from the same guy. One of them was an audio, the second was a shirtless photo of himself in front of a mirror, and the third one was sweaty and a few emojis with a tongue. I confronted her since she had promised they wouldn't talk ever again, and she said he just wanted to show her he's going to the gym to show progress, but that the rest of the times they talk about is just about work, and that this is just a coincidence. I asked her to show me the rest of their messages, but she said she had mistakenly deleted their conversation history. My wife says she's going to change this time and that I never really forgave her, and that's why she kept talking to the guy. She says this time she's really going to stop, and I have a hard time believing it. Or even if she does stop, I fear that when things don't go well between us, she'll do it again. I really love her, but I can't keep living like this. Is there any situation in which this can work? What would you do? And as I said, there is an update on this one, which we will cover, but we'll do some comments first to see what people think, what they would do. But me, initially, I'd be gone instantly. She's clearly gaslighting in this situation as well, making OP think, they're the ones at fault here. They're the ones that's being, paranoid in this situation. So they're clearly not going to stop. I mean, twice already. They didn't even stop after the first time. Didn't even attempt to stop by the looks of it. And we'll start with Endless War 1, who says, "Dude, you're being blind." The Azo says, "Flirty, they've clearly been nailing each other. Tell her to, and feel free to paraphrase, fuck right off." Prada Girl says, "You've been married 3 years and you don't mention kids, so I'm assuming you don't have any. Consider yourself lucky, dude. 1, she's cheating on you. A lot of people cheat, most don't get caught. Consider yourself lucky again, that you don't have to take her word for it because the evidence you found is clear cut. She may eventually admit, she may not. No matter, you have your answer. 2, get a lawyer. You know your marriage is over, you can never trust her again, right? 3, book an appointment with a therapist. A video chat appointment is better than none at all, and even if you've never had therapy before, you'd be surprised how settled you can feel after opening up to someone about how badly you've been hurt, and they will help you see the light at the end of the tunnel. And in your case, it's a life without someone who is pretending to love you or deceiving you to serve their own purposes. What are they? The comfort, love, and stability that you provide at home while getting it dirty, hot and cheap on the side. Again, sorry, dude." An Arid throwaway account says, and quotes, "My wife says she's going to change this time, and I never really forgave her, and that's why she kept talking to the guy." And then saying, "Her blaming you for choosing to continue to cheat on you is a big red flag you shouldn't ignore." And one more from Josh Strife Hayes, who says, I've taken the liberty of rewriting your post. My wife, who has previously slept with a coworker multiple times, has been texting that same coworker about having some more sex. I confronted her about this and she said it was all virtual and nothing happened. Then she continues to message the same coworker and have more sex. I discover topless photos of that coworker on my wife's phone. My wife apologizes and again tells me nothing is happening. Do you think my wife is cheating on me? There you go. Now we'll move on to the update to see what that says. So the update says, this is a tough pill to swallow, and I can't say that I hadn't been warned. This is my previous post. Many folks asked me to follow up with an update, so here it is, fresh from the oven. After reading every single comment of the Reddit post, my brain just couldn't overcome the catastrophe and the collapse of the world I had built for me, in which my wife is my love, my best friend and partner, as well as the person I admire the most. She was entirely perfect and made me happy for many years. I thought no couple in the world could have what we had. We were both very happy for a long time. We were both attractive, we were both inherently good, had big hearts, and were individually wildly successful in our careers. After the Reddit post, I moved to an Airbnb, and eventually with my family to think things through. It was a terrible time, but a psychologist helped me recover from a terrible mental state. It coincided with a pandemic hitting very hard in my city. I caught the virus, which didn't help. During this time, we kept talking and my wife was very sorry and continued saying they hadn't met. I know it wasn't true, but was willing to forgive the woman of my dreams, who continued being in the highest altar of my universe. Fast forward to last Saturday morning. I went back to our place, ready to forgive her and talk things through in the most mature way possible. And well, there she was. But I was the one who received the biggest surprise, to say the least. The guy was in my house naked, and so was my wife. The guy from the messages, the guy from the pics. The one she said she didn't even like. I caught him hiding in my bathroom as my wife was putting her pajamas on. When I saw him hiding in my bathroom, he uttered, "Sorry dude." For a second I asked myself, is this where I kill him? But I instantly replied, I got nothing against you because the guy was just nailing this hot woman. Even if he was doing so in a house full of pictures of me, pictures of our wedding and our families, pictures of my dead father who would have been so sad to see the marriage he never witnessed was going to end. He has always been the reason I tried to make the world a better place. He passed away 2 months before our wedding. I'm sorry, I still love her to death, but I understand enough is enough. Even if my world collapses, I hope I can build a new one without lies and in which I'm not just a blind believer under an altar of a fake god. Godspeed. What a painful way to find out about someone that you love, and clearly OP still loved them and wanted to work it out after everything they'd been through, knowing the wife was pretty much cheating on him, and he still wanted to work it out and try to make things work. And so in some ways, and it's going to sound really brutal, I think this is not the best way to find out, but a way that OP needed to find out, needed it like shoved in his face and saying, look, she isn't going to change. You need to get out of there as soon as possible. Because otherwise I think OP would have continued this thing of trying to forgive her, and I can't blame him for it. He was clearly madly in love with this person and saw her as the center of his universe, which there's nothing wrong with, but when they're cheating on you, you need to, for your own mental health, because it must be damaging to your own mental well-being, being worried about someone and being paranoid, because he was paranoid from the first one. He's only going to continue to be paranoid and damage his own mental well-being if he continues down this road, and that's just kind of the way I feel about it. What about you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story, just a pre-warning on it, it talks about not being able to have a child and various topics around that. So if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. It'll probably be the end of the video for you here, but I just want to let you know, last thing I want to do is cause bad feelings for you. So this story is from Wife Needs Help, and it says, it has been 7 months since we learned that my wife, 34 female, can't have kids, and she's still not, in air quotes, gotten over it. I, 35 male, am seriously considering a divorce. And again, this one is going to follow with an update as well. Title may seem harsh, so I apologize. Also using a throwaway because my friends know my real account. Bit of background info about my wife. She's an only child and had a rather lonely childhood. So to her, having kids and watching them grow up together is an important issue for her, if not the most single important issue. To make a long story short, 7 months ago, We learned that my wife is incapable of having children. Of course, both of us were devastated and she ended up leaving her job. For the first month after learning this terrible news, all she did was cry and watch Netflix in bed. I brought her meals in bed, started working from home, and gave her my full support because it was the least I could do. But now it's 7 months later, and she's still crying and watching Netflix in bed all day. I ask her every day if she needs anything, but all I get in response is variations on either leave me alone or some peace and quiet. Virtually the only times she is out of bed are when she fixes herself some snacks, uses the bathroom, or takes a shower. I do all the cooking, cleaning, and laundry. I've suggested many things to help her recover, including but not limited to 1. Therapy. She said that all therapists spew BS back at you. 2. Adoption or using a surrogate. She shot down both, saying that it just didn't feel right to her. 3. Moving to her parents' city. She said moving 100 miles was too much stress. 4. Buying a corgi puppy. Corgis are a favourite. She snapped at me saying that a puppy is no substitute for a real human child. 5. Taking a week-long trip to anywhere she chooses. Again, she said that's too much stress. Earlier tonight, I had a talk with my wife. I told her that our relationship is just not sustainable if she continues to act this way and that she needs help. She said that she's fine and called me an arsehole for suggesting that she gets help. Don't get me wrong, I love my wife with all my heart. I'm doing my best to help her, but she is refusing that help and in total denial. I know she'll be devastated if we get a divorce, but honestly, I cannot bear living like this for much longer. What do or can I do? And a lot of the comments on this one were just sort of saying like, you need to just say what you're saying in this post to her, just sit her down and give her that heart to heart, you know. So we'll cover a couple of those comments, starting with Wow You Can Really Dance, who says, sit her down and tell her everything you said in the last paragraph. Followed by a deleted account who says, your last ditch effort should be to push her into therapy, not couples counselling, therapy. She is suffering and she needs professional help. That news was so devastating that it boomed her right into deep depression. Maybe consider, instead of having a hard talk tomorrow, that you can make an appointment with a therapist first thing tomorrow morning. Get in as soon as you can and talk to them about this for your own mental health. Divorce is ugly and expensive, and you still love this woman. A therapist, in comparison, is cheap. They can help you navigate this major bump in the road in you and your wife's life. You have time, so don't rush this divorce decision. You love her and haven't sought out the most obvious channel for helping someone that needs a mental health professional. When you are searching tonight or tomorrow morning, you can look for couples therapists and just go by yourself. That's totally normal and reasonable. They can help you guide and help you feel better about the awful things that you're having to deal with too. Take your time with your relationship. Hurry up with the outside help though. And Witchy Woman says, this is a very hard situation, and I'm so sorry you're going through this. Being an aspiring parent myself, I absolutely sympathize for you and your wife, but at the same time she sounds severely depressed, and the fact that she refuses to seek help and snaps at you for trying to help her is unacceptable, and after so long of this, I can totally understand where you're coming from. You have listed some great suggestions and you're doing a great job. May I suggest writing her a letter? Sometimes writing a letter is a much better option when the subject is difficult or you don't get a positive response during a conversation. I would be 100% honest, letting her know that you love and support her, but you feel the distance and it's taking a toll on your marriage. Let her know that your marriage will be in jeopardy if she doesn't put in the effort to get better. I would add that you would rather get through this together and not be forced to separate. Leave the ball in her court. Hand her a letter, then say, I'm ready to talk whenever you are, and leave the room. She will probably be upset, but you can't go through life like this. Feel free to hit me up if you'd like to talk more about this. Now, as I said, there is an update on this one, which we're going to cover next. But if you want to add your thoughts or your comments, let me know now in the comments below before the update. So, updates. Hi all, first off I want to apologise for not responding to every single post, reply or PM. I'm genuinely touched by the sheer amount of support I received, and I spent quite a few hours crying my eyes out as I read your messages and well wishes. The night after I wrote my original post, I wrote my wife a short letter. Thank you Witchy Woman for the idea. That went something like this. Dear wife's name, I love you more than you can imagine, and the most I want in this world is for you to be happy. I understand that as a man, I probably have no idea how intense the pain you are feeling is. I'm doing my best to help, but the fact that you won't help yourself is taking a toll on our marriage. I honestly cannot continue living like this for much longer, and our marriage is in jeopardy if you don't make an effort to get better. However, I want to get over this bump together and start working in the right direction together. I'm ready to talk whenever you are. With all my love, and my name. I put the letter on top of a laptop and went to bed. The next morning, March 16th, I woke up a bit earlier than usual to fix her a double helping of her favourite breakfast. Blueberry pancakes, bacon, scrambled eggs, and fresh squeezed OJ. When I walked into the room with her food, I saw her reading my letter. When she saw me, she put the letter down, got out of bed, threw herself into my arms and started crying. Full on, Niagara Falls level crying. I hugged her tighter, told her I love you so much, and started crying too. Oh god, I'm almost crying here. I honestly don't know how long we stood there, hugging each other and crying. It could have been 10 minutes. It could have been an hour. I didn't care. When she stopped crying, she promised me that she would go to therapy. Reddit, you guys don't know how thrilled and proud I was when I heard those words. She then asked me if we could go on a trip to Japan because in her words, I really need to leave this fucking house for once and get some fresh air. I was so fucking proud of her when she took the initiative in planning our trip. She's always been a methodical, organised person, and she booked the flights and hotels. I saw in her eyes the same spark that made me fall in love with her 8 years ago. We just finished packing for the trip, and she fell asleep with the faintest of smiles on her face not too long ago. We have a 5 AM Uber to catch, a trip to enjoy, and both a therapy and dog shopping sessions lined up when we return. We're not quite out of the tunnel yet, but we can see the light at the end. I'm going to bed. Thank you to everyone who followed up my story and offered their well wishes. Having trouble seeing through the tears at the minute, guys. Wowee. What a happy update and what a positive update. I know OP said they're not totally out the tunnel yet, but to see things turn around when it seems it's such in a dark place in the previous post is absolutely fantastic. When someone turns around and admits that they need that help, that they need that therapy to get better and is actually going to try and help themselves. Such a spicy update. I love it. And in the comments below, there was just loads of helpful advice for like places to go in Japan, things to do in Japan. Japan's a place I really want to visit one day as well. The culture, from what I've read about, seems fantastic, and I'd love to get involved in that someday, but maybe that's one day in the future. But there was also more comments on there about surrogacy and adoption and, various other options that these people do have. And it's just, now, what are your thoughts on this story? I think it's great. Whenever we get a happy ending, I'm absolutely thrilled to bits. Some people are not there. They're like, what? Where's the drama? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below for both these stories today. Let me know if you enjoy them with updates. If you'd like to support the channel further, you absolutely can by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. Thank you so much for your love, time and support towards the channel. It means the absolute world to me. You make a huge difference in the way we run things, the things we do. Amazing. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.